All right, y'all, we got week. This is the I Am Redemption podcast, and today we have a very special episode. We are in the New England Cartel in Boston, Massachusetts. Today we have the honor of sitting down with the number 8 ranked featherweight in the entire UFC. If you tune into this man's fight, you are guaranteed to see beautiful combinations, vicious elbows, and you are most likely going to end up seeing a fight of the night. This man doesn't need any introduction. Mr. Calvin Kattar, how you doing, sir?
Doing great, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Dude, absolute pleasure, man. It's an honor. Bro, you got a big fight coming up, a lot going on. You are doing your own promotion with Combat Zone and all that. So how do you find time to be able to juggle this life and doing all these different things?
I don't. No, I'm working with the mental coach of the UFC and kind of what he preaches a ton, which has helped me a lot because you don't always get everything on the to-do list done that you want to, but he's like, we're chasing consistency, not perfection, you know? So just kind of going by that, getting as much as I can done every day and, you know, saving whatever I can for the next day, just doing what I can every day.
Right, let's go. Good shit.
Yeah.
So how did you even get into fighting? Like, where does your story start? How does Calvin Kattar become Calvin Kattar?
Well, wrestling in high school, I was always a scrappy kid. Never had really any previous experience. No wrestlers really that were in my family that I watched or kind of got put on to wrestling. And I was always told they're going to set me up in a boxing gym. No one ever really kind of did those things, never walked me through that door. But freshman year, I found a wrestling mat, mostly because I didn't make the basketball team. But funny how it works out. I jumped on the wrestling team 2 weeks late and jumped in a freshman tournament. I won it that weekend, just kind of crazy. Went 4-0, brought home a bracket, a gold medal. I'm like, this is awesome.
And how long you have been doing it?
Just like, I don't know, maybe a week or two.
Really?
Yeah, it was not clean by any means. It was very sloppy, but scrappy. I got the job done. And it's kind of like my story, man, in wrestling. I joke, but I'm kind of serious about it. It's like everybody I lost to in wrestling, I could have just punched them. You know, I feel like I could beat these kids up. You know what I mean? But sometimes they're good at running legs and the technique. And I ended up finding my sport post high school graduation. I took 6 months off. Really kind of college caught me not ready, really, to be honest. Junior year, I didn't have good grades. I failed out the wrestling team. I came back towards the sectionals, which is like second half of the season, and really kind of behind. That messed up a lot of things for me with college wrestling. And I ended up taking 6 months off in between high school and college, and then my grades weren't where they needed to be, so I needed to take all non-credited courses.
Right.
So it's kind of like got me a year off even before I can get into college. So I ended up in that gap in that time. I was like 188 at the time. I was wrestling 52 that senior year, so kind of a little out of shape, you know. I don't know. I went to go see my sister's best friend, Dave George, take his first MMA fight. And this kid's just like, I don't know, adrenaline seeker. Like, he likes to wakeboard, you know, to do anything that's just extreme shit. Yeah, he's an extreme guy. And he started training. All of a sudden, he starts fighting. My sister tells me, you know, he's going to be fighting at Club Lido in Revere if I want to come watch it. Sure, let's go check it out. I saw it. I was blown away. And I had missed the feeling of competing in wrestling back in high school. And I saw him get a good finish. It was exciting, crazy. I was like, I got to start training with this kid, you know, just get on the mats. So that next Monday, I go into class, they're doing jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot easier than wrestling. You know, wrestling practices sucked, man. A lot of condition. My coach was a sergeant. He's, you know, great guy, worked us to the bone. And but the practices of jiu-jitsu seemed a lot more laid back, or at least the initial ones. And then I started training with him, and I figured this kid's fighting. I started doing well with him, and I'm like, all right, maybe I can do it. And an opportunity came up 6 months later. They're like, do you want to go pro or amateur? I'm like, I don't know, pro?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
I don't know. And you can get paid for it. I was like, oh, sure. And then didn't take in the fact that you can get knee and elbow in the head in it and pro, but did it. I got a big finish, and I've just been kind of stuck chasing out adrenaline ever since.
Right. So I made the same mistake you did in school, and I put all my eggs into basketball. Yeah. And decided to neglect the fact and ignore the fact that I was white and couldn't jump. And so I chased a dream for a long time that just wasn't ever going to end up for me. So maybe I should have transitioned into wrestling or something.
Yeah, I mean, you got the build for it. Right. I'd see that over the basketball, but I I was always strong defense, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I didn't like playing defense.
No, you're offense.
Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Let me shoot and dribble. But that was probably, again, I wasn't coachable when I was young, so it definitely wasn't meant to be for me on that spectrum.
I feel like for myself, I really have always been coachable. You know, I remember one wrestling match I was there with my coach, and blown away. He actually like talked me through the whole match as if I was like a video game player, and he was just calling out everything he said that the kid was going to do. He did, and I did everything that he had said, and he literally talked me through beating a kid that I feel like I should have lost to. So ever since then, I just like always had my ear out for the coach, and it kind of transitions well into the sport. Mm-hmm. Although 30, almost 6 years old next month, you know, I wish I was not cutting weight for more than half my life doing this type of sports, but I've kind of been bred into it. And looking back, you know, there's a lot of indicators that I'd be doing this now, thinking back to, you know, being young. Right.
You brought up video games. What does it feel like to be in a video game?
Oh, man, that's cool as shit. My little brother plays me, or I don't know, fights.
Plays as you.
Right? Yeah, but and he just beats everybody up. I can't play him because I'm too competitive with it, and I'll just drop the remote and start beating his ass.
Right.
But he's really good. It's wild, man. I still want to actually fight Rob, though, because I heard you can jump weight classes, and 35 versus 45er. I don't think he wants that work, though. Even in the video game.
Rob, you heard him.
Where you at, Rob?
We need to have you on to rebuttal this. Yeah, dude, I was reading that, and it had me thinking today. I was like, God damn, like, what does it feel like to know that, like, to see your face and, like, because so you would have to, went into EA Sports and done, like, the whole thing?
So I believe that at that time it was in, I don't know if it was during COVID or one of the hotel fight weeks. We pumped in the hotel room, and they had this thing that you stand on, and it rotates you 360 degrees. You got all these contraptions on that take your body measurements and things. But, yeah, it was pretty ridiculous, man, pretty wild.
As you're doing that, are you like, holy shit?
I more so when I come on the game, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is weird, you know?
Right.
When it comes out, you're like, wow, this is crazy. And then they announced it. And honestly, it's really cool. It's a cool checkpoint. And you know, maybe one day I'll take it in more. But right now, I'm just so busy on the next one, next, you know? And it's kind of good and kind of bad, you know? It's like you want to take in these moments, but I'm still highly unsatisfied. Like, I'm chasing, you know, big checkpoints, and it's along the way in the process, and it's really cool checkpoints, but I'm not like satisfied with them. So it's tough.
Yeah, you and I were talking a little bit before the podcast, and you know, I feel that I don't think you do anything to take second place or anything like that, and so it's like on to the next one, and it's almost like you have a chip on your shoulder, right?
Yeah,
like something to prove with this.
Always, yeah, always.
I'm the same way, and I don't know what it is. I think, you know, there was so much of my life where I had messed so much up and was in trouble with the law, drugs, prison, you name it. And it's like when I came out, people saw that I had changed my life, but they didn't necessarily. I didn't know if they believed it. And so it's like, all right, I'm gonna show you. Like, oh, I'm gonna go run. Cool, I'll go run 100 miles. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go in the gym. I'm gonna try to big as I can. Like all these different things, and it's like I will prove to everybody, like, you know what I mean, what it really is, but. Having that drive is something that so many people, unfortunately, don't have. You know what I mean? They hit a little bit of obstacle and then they just stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of times.
You don't ever get anywhere if you're like that.
I feel like there is some part of me that wants to prove some people wrong, but honestly, it's like I feel like it's mostly a lot to prove to myself, and I still question if it's to prove my supporters right or prove the haters wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of times it's like I can't control all that. I always tell myself it's just you versus you every day. I don't really have to deal with them as much, man. It's the, you know, waking up in the morning, getting out of bed, and, you know, I face my opponent one day on fight night.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's me versus me every day, and it's not even like it's multiple times a day. It's before the first session. All right, after the first session, get into the next session. You know, it's like I live in those moments, try to stay present in the moment as much as I can. It's really a lot harder to do than people think. And I try to just live there as much as I can.
Dude, that's an awesome way to put it. Though I can definitely see that. Like, you're against yourself every day.
Every day, man. You're your toughest opponent. You know your weaknesses. You know, it's like it's easy to listen to that bitch voice that we talk about oftentimes, and man, it gets loud some days. You know, right. But you know, just I feel like I heard good quotes consistently, but like sometimes just whatever you got to do to kind of get around that corner, keep pushing it. Sometimes it's just getting in the door. All of a sudden you start warming up, loosen up, and you're good. It's just that mental barrier of getting to the door.
Yep.
And, even sometimes hearing like, if you only got that 40% that day, but if you give it all the 40%, you technically gave 100% that day.
Right.
You might only have 40% in the tank, but if you give it, that's 100. So like I constantly just push that message to myself. I'm big on pushing it to other people too, just to recite it over to myself again. Yeah. I try to never miss the opportunity to do that. I try to just preach it, live it, and day by day, man, you can't really go further than that. People ask me all these things down the line. It's like, especially in camp, my focus is on to like lunch right now. After the interview, like just going to eat, rehydrate, and then getting in the Normatec. But I try to live in those moments, not too much past that, especially in the fight game. People ask, what are you doing after your next fight? That's like, man, we'll see how this thing goes. It's not here.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. What are you doing after the fight? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully, not in the hospital like the last 3.
Right.
But even when you win.
Yeah. And you can't control the future. All you can control is right now.
Exactly.
Right now in the moment.
Yeah. It's all you're guaranteed is the present. So I'm just trying to live in it and control what I can control.
I read something, I don't know if it's true, but I had read something about you that I think earlier in your career, you got the opportunity and you went out and trained with the Diaz brothers. Yeah. Can you take me back to that? Like, what did you learn? What was that like? Like, what was that whole experience? How did it happen?
Yeah, so my first coach at the time, Chris Canellis, shout out to him. He had the connection with Cesar Gracie. And so, I forget how old I was. Man, it was my 4th fight, probably. So, I had it. No, first fight ever. Oh, really? I was like 19, probably. No more than 20, probably 19. And I had the opportunity to go out there, just kind of pack the bag, me, myself, shipped out. I showed up, and first thing I do, I see Cesar, and he's like, oh, just got my luggage. I'm at the gym, got dropped off. He's like, you got your stuff with you? Hop in there and spar. Accidentally, I brought my medium-sized luggage bag with the small bag in it, so it felt heavy, and my large bag had all my shit back home. So I really should have, but nothing. But anyway, that's another story. I ended up getting close somehow. They gave me some gear. I borrowed some gear, and I just fought this 21-year-old kid from Venezuela. And I just couldn't stop thinking, like, I came from Boston. He came from Venezuela, and here we are just duking it out in front of Cesar and Stockton area. Yeah. And, he ended up becoming my boy all week. He's the one that drove me to the airport. Like, it's funny how that works. We gave each other some good rounds, got tight over the week, but really just being out there on the West Coast, it really was an eye-opener. At the time, my gym was only open like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. like most gyms, and there was very few gyms in the area. This happened to be one of them. And when I went to Cali, it was like, man, you got like 6-7-year-olds shrimping up and down the mat with better technique than like grown men back home. And they're doing it first thing in the morning. They're training in the afternoon. They're training in the day. They're training at night. Yeah. I showed up to Nate Diaz's gym, and they're training at, I showed up there at 12:30 at night, and he's just putting on his jeans. And Cesar's like, hey, give this kid some work. He's just showing up from Boston. He's like, all right. Coach takes off his jeans, gets back on the mat. No shit. Tapped me out real quick, probably like 3 times in a couple minutes. He's like, I'm going to let a purple belt hand you. Good work, you know what I mean? So I ended up getting in work with one of the purple belts, sparred him. I was getting like 4 bloody noses a day, just sparring everybody. Shark baiting me, just sending me through. I'm just a kid from Boston, by myself. But sink or swim, man. I feel like I've always learned best from either just figuring it out, making mistakes, or put my back against the wall and have no other choice than to figure it out. So yeah, it was pretty wild, man. I saw him, Nate, Nick, Diaz, and they went to go boxing in Oakland with Andre Ward, Virgil Hunter. I'm like, this is crazy, man. I was in like the Mecca. I feel like I got exposed to it, and then when I got home, like I couldn't unsee what I saw. Yeah. So I had to make adjustments. I couldn't pretend people weren't training like that. Right. Elsewhere in the world, getting prepared for a fight. So I just had to level up big time. I actually kind of was like, do you really want to do this? This motherfucker's going hard. Right. And then I was like, no. I just kind of just one day after another pushed it, kept training. But yeah, I just definitely leveled up from that trip, realizing that people are training to the max, even if you're not seeing it. Right.
In the middle of the night when everyone else is sleeping.
Just outworking everybody. I remember I was just hiding in that room waiting for. They would wake up a little late though. Yeah. They wouldn't wake up first thing in the morning, but yeah, I was just waiting for that door to open. You ready? Let's go.
That's cool. You born and raised in Boston, right?
I'm Methuen.
Okay.
30 minutes north.
Okay. So tough city, tough area, tough weather, everything like that. Has anybody ever made the mistake of testing you, not knowing who you are out in the city? Or in another city?
I mean, growing up, we've always had tough kids in Methuen. I say it all the time. It's just no one ever really did much with it. They just got into trouble. You know, I feel like, honestly, a lot of tough kids from my area, but maybe that's most areas, but it's just finding a good outlet for it,
right.
You know? And I happened to find wrestling. And then after wrestling, I saw the fights, and it kind of just made my way into, you know, fighting professionally. So, and then from there, you kind of, all right, if I do it inside the cage, they love you for it, they pay you for it, you know, you can build off that. You do it outside the cage, you're going to get arrested, you're going to break your hand, you're not getting paid, and you're going to get hurt.
Right,
like,
for sure.
And it could be weapons, multiple opponents,
Yep.
weight classes.
So many dead.
So many unknowns. Yeah, all that, man. You know, no one's, you know, tougher than some of the weapons that are out there. Things like, that's a, you know, different road. But yes, tested plenty of times.
Right.
That being said,
dude. So being a fighter, you're walking out, you're basically in your underwear, you're putting yourself out there for the world. Who knows what's going to happen? You could have a glorious moment, not glorious moment, all that. So through all the adversity that fighters go through, injuries, losses, wins, everything, the whole roller coaster, how do you deal with, you know, somebody that's listening, they're going through hardships or they're going through losses in their life and stuff like that? How do you deal with yours?
We always say just trying to get too high with the highs and too low with the lows. You know, you just, try as best as you can. It's tough, man. But being able to leverage the mental coach at the UFC PI, honestly, with the UFC, it's helped a ton. My guy, Micah, I talk to him right now every Monday. And, you know, it prepares you for fighting, but more so for life, man. I recommend it for everybody. It just helps you kind of process things, look at things differently. We get a lot of thoughts every day, and if you're not kind of organized with that and just processing correctly, it can throw you through a loop. So a lot of ups and downs in the sport, like you said, and it's important for me, like I said, not to get high with the highs, low with the lows. Right after a win, it's crazy if you attach yourself to that being your success, you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it starts to dwindle. You got to feed it again, and it's like, picture these Olympic athletes only getting that opportunity once every 4 years. Yeah. It's like, well, how do they cope in between that?
Yeah,
you know, it's tough. You hear it oftentimes with a lot of athletes, how they find that way to stay competitive, and MJ gambling probably, you know, just keeping that high energy. Just everyone's got their outlets, their ways. I just try to stay busy with as much good things as I can to keep my focus sharp and my work ethic up. I think if you have a strong work ethic, it can translate to anything. And so for me, like if I'm going through like fighting, a lot of times I feel like I've gotten myself into plenty of shit down the line, over the course of the years. And I just felt like when I had nothing and I got knocked down to just nothing, literally all I had, I would just show up in the gym fuming, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'd just be angry. And then I just notice that when I get out of the gym, I feel 1% better.
Yep.
I'm talking that 1%. So like I'd get down to just nothing, just pissed off. I go in the gym, I come back, I feel better, 1%, and then I compound that the next day, 1 more %. For me, it's always translated to getting in a workout, clearing your head, flushing your system, eating some good food, and then positive things come from that. I build momentum off that. But every setback, things I've ever had, I've noticed I get a good workout, it's just worked for me, where it just clears my mind. A lot of times when we're working out in here, it's like, you can't think of anything else, or else you're going to get strangled, punched. You know what I mean? It's like you're fully focused in what you're doing. And that's probably a good distraction from all the, you know, problems that life will throw at you, because nothing hits like life. So, coming in here, getting a good workout, getting out. And sometimes that's just that little bit of a push that I need to kind of get the momentum in the right direction.
Right. I tell people all the time, like through addiction and everything, like the gym and running and fitness has become my therapy. I've tried meditation, I tried therapy and all that. This is what works for me. But I need it, you know what I mean? I need my medicine each day. And so it'll be funny. I could be on my way to the gym in the morning and somebody could cut me off and I'm like, this mother, like I'm ready to hop out of the car, ready to kill someone. I could be leaving the gym. Same person could cut me off, and it's like, they're probably in a hurry.
Yeah,
whatever.
Same.
And so, like, man, I see people and I work with people every day, and it's like most people don't understand the power of movement and stuff like that. And like, you want to talk about you're depressed or you're angry or something like that, like, come for a run with me. Come to the gym and see how you feel afterwards.
Yeah, get that out of you first, man. I feel like after I get a good workout in, I'm a good citizen again.
Yep.
But if I don't, man, don't cut me off.
Right.
I might.
I'm destined to be behind bars or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, and I think that's what a good part the mental coach told me. It's like, he says crazy things to me sometimes. Sometimes we think crazy things. Does it mean we're crazy? I don't think so. He says a thought could just be a thought. Right. You know, you don't got to put so much weight on a thought sometimes. Yep. And he kind of helped me kind of realize a lot of those things. And sometimes I'm like, what am I thinking? Am I crazy? And then, you know, it's just thoughts of thoughts. We get 60, 70,000 thoughts a day, you know, just working through all that. But yeah, there's so much to focus on, right? I just try to focus on good things. And like you say, man, we never know what people's going through, what people are dealing with. I try to be open-minded to that. My mother's big on that. Anytime you get in a argument with like a significant other, anybody's like, well, think about it from their point of view. And
damn, why do you gotta say
why do you say this shit? That's all I do. And it's but I mean, she's right, you know. When you could subside all the emotion, you know, from it, and you could detach yourself from the emotion, how you're feeling on some things, you can think about it more logically, for sure.
Right, for sure. So throughout your whole career, do you have like one moment? It's like your favorite moment in the ring?
Cage.
Okay.
I make that mistake. People say all the time. I know. I do that too.
Cage, you're right.
Yeah, I do have. Actually, no, that's not incorrect. That's not incorrect.
I can't believe I even just said that.
You know what, though? To be fair, I fought in the ring, MMA, twice. So you're not too far on.
Pride?
No, local promotion here is in a ring. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, back in the day when we were fighting, there was like no sanctioning. It was a mess.
Falling in between.
Yeah, on the road, set you back up. But what would you say?
Favorite moment?
Favorite moment, man. Nothing will ever beat. The debut was nice. It was cool. 2-week notice, 20 pounds I had to lose. And it was after 8 days in Vegas. If you can imagine that, it was rough.
Right.
So I didn't touch a training pad, it was rough. That's what got me the fight, though. I was having drinks with the matchmaker. He won 1 drink. I'm buying him 2. Oh, yeah? Hey, don't forget about me. Don't forget about me.
Really?
Yeah, I get home on the red eye, 6 a.m. flight. I'm hitting the golf course right off the plane. Didn't even, met up with the guys. Right. Second tee box, I'm up there. I get a text. You want to fight in 2 weeks? I'm like, fuck. I put the phone down. I hit 9 more holes. I'm like, fuck. I don't want to, man. I feel like shit. And we just made it work. But shout out to Rob and all these guys for lying to me, telling me that they took 2-week notice fights for their debut. He's just telling me after it was like a month. Yeah, I'm like, fuck you. But they all worked there like a good team. I had said no originally, and then 10 p.m. at night, Tyson's like, hey, man, how you feeling about the decision? I'm like, I don't know. You think I screwed up? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, did you already tell him? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, fuck, I'll do it. Right. It just took me all day, man. I was in some shit shape. Made it work, and I got a W there. But as good as that one felt, I ended up getting my second fight in UFC was a 10-week notice camp here in Boston at the TD Garden. And Rob was on the card. Kyle Bochnak was on the card. 2 local guys that I was training with all camp. And it was also, I had a fight, Shane Burgos, 10-0, pro fighter, 4-0 in the UFC. New York fighter, big, tough kid, quality fight. It was a big fight. I won the first round. He won the second. Third round comes out. He's cheering on the crowd. I'm like, that's my fucking crowd, man. But I was respected. I was like, all right, let's go. We're in a barn burner here. Came out, and I got a big shot, landed a combo, put him down. I ended up getting a bonus. That was my second fight in the UFC. I was getting paid short money. You know what I mean? So that was more than probably 2 fights worth of pay for me, the bonus. I just was driving a shit box at the time that wasn't registered. Window fell off. I got videos of that stuff, just talking to myself like, man, if I'm going to get this bonus, I'm going to buy a car. I'm like, did it, man. I got the finish, got the bonus. I heard the hometown crowd. Really, it was more about, that was like my official debut for everybody back home to see me compete at the UFC. It was like, that was my moment.
It's real now.
Yeah, it's real now. And they got to experience that, Because a lot of guys will get there a lot, man. It's just like, and I know New England's, it's got competitors now, man. We're here to compete. We're not, just trying to get the opportunity. We're trying to like maximize it now, So I wanted a good showing for New England, my family, for the last 15 years at that point in my career. And we got the big win. And yeah, I'd say TD Garden at home was my most memorable fight to date.
That's dope.
Yeah, by far.
So I met you originally in Austin, and a bunch of your guys were there. And the one thing I could say, I was blown away by like how humble, like just how awesome you guys were. Like I didn't know what to expect. It was my first ever going to a UFC event or anything like that. I had only watched on TV, but meeting you and Connor Matthews and everybody you had with you, man, it was just like, wow, like these are just some guys, man. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like I would have pictured like these egos and all this, and it was just, you guys were so down to earth. You guys have been nothing but amazing about letting us come up in here, dude. And so it was just, that was so cool. And I've been to a lot of sporting events. That was hands down the best sporting event I've ever went to.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember, do you remember Clay Guida coming out?
I do.
Dude, that was the most electric entrance. That stole the night for me. You know, and that was probably, in all honesty, no offense to Clay, but like wasn't even thinking about that fight. And then he comes out like that, and I was like, oh, this dude is electric.
Yeah.
Like that was dope. Just the atmosphere. So what does it feel like for you? Mind frame, everything like that. What does your entrance feel like when you're walking out?
Well, credit to you for coming out here and doing the podcast. A lot of people say they want to do it, and I don't know many that would fly out to do it. So credit to you guys.
Austin in February, baby.
Let's go. Yeah, if people don't want that real podcast out here, and they want to come in the summer when it's nice and warm. Yeah.
I want
free cryotherapy out here in Boston.
Dude, we were in Fenway last night, touring Fenway. It was so cold. We were sitting there like that.
Part about the weigh-ins for TD Garden, we did the weigh-ins at the Fenway Park.
At Fenway.
It was cool, man. Yeah.
Oh,
well, we did like the media day and all that. We were in Fenway. It was cool.
That's dope.
Yeah. But
did you think about like you growing up around here? Did you ever think you'd be doing UFC weigh-ins in Fenway?
I do remember seeing Kenny Florian and Joe Lazon fighting back in the day in the main event, and it was an epic fight. I'm like, wow, two Boston guys in the main event of the UFC throwing down. It's like that pressure they must be feeling. It's just like, wow, that's got to be crazy to have earned that moment and then deliver on that highest stage. And we don't really have many guys out here that got there at that point, and to be in the main event, it was great to see. It was inspiring, and it's crazy to think that I've had some of those main event opportunities at this point. And that's that double-edged sword, like I'm talking about. I'm not focused. Maybe one day when we wrap it up, I can look back and really enjoy it. And there's brief moments of that, but I try not to live there because like I'm too focused on forward and trying to get that next moment.
Right.
So yeah, it's great to be in the mix with at the highest level in the sport, fight. Yeah. In order to have those big moments, you have to take on great opposition, and that's what we have in front of us, man. It's a big fight, and it takes two. So you don't get those big moment opportunities fighting,
right?
Not less competition.
Yeah.
You gotta fight the best guys in the world, and these things come in, and that proving to yourself type thing is more like I'm here to prove to myself that I belong at this highest level, and beating these guys impressively. And so I work so hard as I do, and I just don't want to ever think on the back end of a fight that like I could have done more, or that I left some in the tank in a fight. I've done that before. I've gone out of fight healthy that I've left some in the tank, and that's the worst feeling in the world. It's like I'd rather be beat up after like the fight with Max. Let's just say no, I did everything I could. Hey, fuck it, better man that day, tip your cap, But if you have more left in the tank, and he got out of there, and you didn't, it just burns, man. So the physical pains, they heal up, you know what I mean? But that regret from not like letting it all go, I won't have that happen again. I just gotta step on the gas and that.
It's as soon as you started saying that, I immediately thought about the Max fight because, dude, what you showed. To be able to still keep coming forward, round 3, round 4, you start coming back and stuff like that. But to stand there and keep coming forward, dude, never waver or anything. And then, bro, like to, win gracefully, lose gracefully or whatever, just your whole demeanor afterwards, like, man, that's what a fighter is. That's a warrior right there.
Yeah, I kind of got out of character, said some shit in the lead up to that fight prior. And that was just because, like, I'm in the fucking gym, right? And this guy who's getting all these sound bites from the fighters, and that's his job, try to pull some on. I'm literally in there after 4 hours of like training. I'm starving. I'm like, fuck, dude, get me out of here. If I just said something like that, he's like, oh, I like that. Like, say it again. I'm like, fuck. I kind of like forced it. It wasn't really authentic, you know what I mean? And then in the fight,
you were saying about he was a freshman.
he was a freshman. I'm see some dumb made up shit, right? I'm like, I forced the line, right? But I'm laughing. I'm like, because in the fight, he started talking some shit or something. And I still see me smiling in the fight, laughing. Because I'm like, tip my hat, man.
Right.
Like, I'd do the same shit if I were you, and I respect it. Like, you should, karma, motherfucker. You talking shit, open your mouth. That's what you get.
Right.
But no, it's funny that you say that, man. Because like everybody. A lot of people that I see, man, they all bring, oh, man, I love that fight with Max. I'm like, man, you guys couldn't pick a fight that I fucking won. Everyone loves that fight, but I get it. No, yeah, I get it, man, because I'm not going to take a fucking knee for anybody, man. I'm chasing that life on the other side of a win, and I'm going to get it. You're going to have to kill me for me not to get it. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to take a knee for anybody. I pride myself in that fight knowing that I ended the fight the way I started, on my own two fucking feet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Max is a beast. He's one of the all-time greats. I got ultimate respect for him, but it's kind of made me just, I don't know, kind of saying it more for just probably bullshit. Hell, the guys kind of pulling on me, but from then on, I was like, fuck the media. I'm going authentic. I don't care what they want me to say. I'm going to be true to who I am and just go out there and try to win fights, man. You don't got to sell out on who you are to try to sell a fight or all the other bullshit. I know people like to do that. That's them. Cool. That's just not me.
Right.
But no, it's fighting the guys like Max and these other guys. It's like, it's crazy. Like, these are guys that I see my whole career. Sometimes you're in there and you're fighting. You're like, oh shit. I'm watching motherfucker
fighting Max fucking Holloway right now,
man. Yeah, but at the end of the day, like, you got to kind of nip it in the butt, go out there and put some respect on your name. Right. Like, there's a reason why you have this opportunity. Go out and prove it to yourself and everybody else.
Right. Who, like, growing up or anything, it doesn't even have to be fighters, but like, who were your idols growing up?
So I always like watching Chuck Liddell. I mean, who the fuck didn't, right? Iceman.
That was my guy.
Yeah, and then it's kind of crazy when you think about how they took away the shorts now, because if Iceman didn't have those shorts, I mean, right? And that
imagine him in just some UFC
No, but I mean, it took its time. But yeah, Chuck Liddell was the OG, and then from there, I love me some the Diaz brothers. Straight up standing and scrapping, Stockton.
Right.
I love Nick Diaz. And funny, man, I told Nick too, our Combat Zone logo. I don't even know if I say it all the time anyway, rep it, but he's the silhouette kind of in our logo.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I got a lot of love for Nick Diaz. Just because, like I said, I went out there when I was like 19. I feel like they kind of put me onto the level of training that it takes to be great. And I was just blown away. And so I took those moments back, and I've always been a big fan of their work ethic and just their attitude towards a fight game. They're not there to make any friends. They're not here to say any bullshit to the media. They're here to win fucking fights. And, it's an uncomfortable feeling. They're not, like, in love with the fact of having a fight. But at the end of the day, if they're going to do it, it's all business. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I treat it as well. I'm there for a job. It's a business trip when I go to these fight weeks. So I like them. And I got me some GSP, though, too. I know it's kind of weird to go there and there, but he's clean cut. I like the honor, respect, discipline, straight Eddie. He the guy that did it right, start to finish, fought smart his whole career. Can't discredit him. He's one of the GOATs.
Did you start getting a little excited when rumors started popping out that he might be on 300?
I was excited when I heard him and Nick Diaz were going to fight. Right. And then it fell through, and I was like, fuck. It sucked. And then they rebooked it and it happened again. I was pumped. But yeah, if he came out and fought.
Dude, imagine being on a card with Nick Diaz and GSP.
Be awesome, man. It'd be awesome. I'm a fan of those guys, like I said, till they stop competing, which, I mean, it's crazy at this point how much older I am. Like I said, I'm going to be 36 next month. All the guys that I grew up watching, for the most part, they're all kind of retiring in all sports. It's kind of a crazy checkpoint, but, seeing Tom Brady, how far he pushed it, how smart he was with the game, and you're seeing athletes stay in longer. I know it's different sports, but I feel like I've always been a late developer as well, trying to find ways to just stay in the game. I'm just a guy that never quit, I look back on what's the difference between me and some of the other guys around here that have competed, because I'm like, I was never really better than these guys. I'm not crazy, more talented. I just feel like I never quit. I just stuck with it and played the long game, and finally these opportunities are coming. It didn't happen overnight, man. I have fought 16 times before I even got my debut, to the UFC. So, and then from there, I felt like I just got started again. Like, my job just got harder. It's like I felt like all right, reset. Your career just started now in the UFC, and like, time to get after it. And that's the mindset I bring in. Every new level it takes a new level of work. Like that top 5 is just different. You know, in the UFC, that top 5 is different. So I'm trying to compete with those guys.
Right. Well, you're getting ready to. Yeah, dude, UFC 300. We're going to be there. So excited to be out there with you. What was it like getting that call? Like you get a phone call and they start offering you a fight for 300?
Yeah, basically it worked itself out. We were talking about fighting in March in Miami. And as tempting as that was, after Rob's fight in Miami with versus Yanez, it was incredible. We pushed it to Vegas. Vegas is the fight capital of the world, man. I love it out there fighting. And Miami would have been doing it pretty much for everybody else. I think a Miami trip is after the fight.
Right. To go relax.
Yeah, hopefully.
But dude, that goes again with what I was saying earlier. Like I remember asking you about the podcast when I met you and stuff. You're like, yeah, bet, let's do it. Yeah. Like, oh, this is cool.
Hell yeah. No, and I say that a lot. Like people ask me about training. Oh man, yeah, really want to come train. What do you guys train at? What do you do? I'm like, it's here. Show up. No one ever shows up. So credit to you for showing up, man.
So I was literally in treatment. I was in drug and alcohol treatment center. And I looked in the mirror and I'd gained a whole bunch of weight, felt like shit, looked like shit. I hated myself just because I grew up an athlete. I was in the military, all these things, and now I'd let myself go so far. And so I had found out there was this little running group that met at 5 a.m. in downtown Austin. And so I got special permission that they were going to let me go do this run group. And so I started going, and then pretty soon it started having all these positive effects, mental health-wise, and I just started showing up different, and it transformed my entire experience of being in treatment. And
that's awesome.
People started seeing the effect it was having on me, other clients in there. So every night I'd be like, oh man, what time do you go run? Like, I'm going to come, I'll be there tomorrow. So every night I'd get 4 or 5, like, bro, I'm going to be there first thing. Bro, no, but I'd be lucky to get 1.
Yeah.
But eventually I got 1, then I got 3, then I got 5.
All right.
And one day I had the entire treatment center with me. It was 16 clients. We're all walking downtown Austin. It's like 4:30 a.m. and the cops pull us over. They're like, where you got, like, dude, everyone's all tatted up.
Yeah.
Like, where you guys going? I'm like, we're going to run, man. We're going downtown. They're like, not thinking.
Run from who?
Right, exactly. They thought we were going to be running from them.
Good for you guys.
But dude, same way, everybody talks a good game and stuff like that, but then alarm goes off. Let's see if you're about it.
100%. But I mean, the fact that if you would have said that once and not showed up, this guy's full of shit, but you show up every day, that's where it helps having, like, for me, having a guy like Rob Font putting in the work every day, maybe that's the difference between me and some of these other guys that I got, teammates around me that are going to that level and pushing it. And I just try to tag along and find people that, you can, compliment you and chase the same dream. It's like, I don't know, me and him at one point, locally, we were both number 1 and number 2 in New England at 45 back when he was a 45er before the UFC. And, we were trying to get us to fight back in the day, but then I took over ownership of Combat Zone. I was promoting for the 3-year layoff I had, and he got to the UFC, and on the back end we started training together. So now we fight every Saturday, So, but I'm glad that fight kind of never worked out. Now it's like we, he's my number 1 training partner, and the guy puts in work. He's the best training partner I've had in my career. It pushes it like he's in a fight camp when he's out of camp. He's just there's no camper. It's just a lifestyle, and I think it's important to kind of surround yourself, like you're saying, with like-minded people that are chasing similar things. It helps you when you're feeling, a little weaker. Maybe they step up. When they're feeling weaker, you step up, and it just kind of pushes the pace. And we have a healthy level of competition where we just push each other. And I see he does 4 ups, I want to do 5. I do 5. He wants to do 6. It's just like, it's good to have those type of people around you. And I have it also in business with Combat Zone. A good friend of mine runs a very successful business, and we always talk about peaks and valleys, like not high with the highs, not low with the lows, but he says peaks and valleys. It's the same but different, right? And in business, there's going to be peaks and valleys. You just got to be able to withstand both, and on the back end, you'll be glad you did.
Right, for sure. Dude, talking about your team and being at New England Cartel, like one of the things when I talk with my clients and work with the people that I do, the biggest thing I preach is the choice of the people you allow to be around you. Because at the end of the day, it's a choice. You let these people be around you. And I try to tell them, like, in my field, what we're dealing with, like life or death. You're talking about drugs, alcohol, mental health, all these things. And it's like, my MO was always, I want to hang around the funny guys. I want to be around the guys that talk shit. But all that ever did was get me in trouble, get me messed up, like not good stuff. And so I started to need to look for people that have what I want in life. Yep. Like, I'm not even saying material things, but just they're honest. They have integrity.
Yeah,
like
family they love
friends that talk to them, a mother that talks to them, all these different things. And so it's so important. And that's exactly what you guys have here. Like iron sharpens iron. I was blessed to be able to watch a practice and watch you and Rob go and stuff like that. Like, how important has that been throughout your life around the people you choose to allow to be around you?
Yeah, you find, when good things happen, you find yourself around good people. And then when bad things happen, you find yourself around bad people. It's not really coincidence. And you start kind of putting that together. A lot of times it takes years of experience and just kind of going through it. At least that's the way I've always learned. I learned things the hard way, man. I wish I could say I learned them the easy way and I had this like beacon the whole time. I fucked up so many times I can't count, man. I just, like I said, every time I reset, get my ass in the gym, get 1% better, ride that momentum as long as I can, try not to let it fade. And I just rinse and repeat over and over and over. And through that, I think you get stronger through that rebuild phase, right? I mean, I won't accept failure. Failure to me is quitting. I just will never quit.
Right. If someone was listening to this, let's say they're not a fight fan, they've never watched UFC.
What's wrong with them?
I hear you. I agree. They need to change their life.
That's their first problem.
But what fights would you tell them that they need to go watch? If you were going to sell them on becoming a UFC fan.
Man. Probably Robbie Lawler and
Rory?
And Rory McDonald.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
That's my one right there.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you an MMA fan, I don't know what would.
Yeah, that's a badass fight. There's so many though. You think back, man. There's just so many great fights, but that's up there. Yeah.
The first pay-per-view I ever watched was Chuck and Randy Couture 2.
Yeah.
I think that's where Chuck hits him with the right hook and knocks him out, I think. But that was the first one, and I've been hooked ever since.
I just grew up watching so many Chuck Liddell knockouts and just him losing it. I'm like, wow, this before I really even kind of knew what it was either. I didn't really know, but it was like the first memories I have of watching guys fight in the UFC that I remember.
Right. Yeah, it was the first sport. Like, my father put me on the football. He'll be upset with me. We're diehard Steeler fans, and I'm sitting here in Boston right now. It's a rough go, but
I know.
But the UFC was like the first sport I ever got into. You know what I mean? And so like studying it and understanding like what's going on. And so now, I was just telling a story earlier. I remember going to watch Khabib and Conor fight at so we were in this big pool hall. There's hundreds of people, but it's all casual fans.
Yeah.
And so everybody's a Conor fan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Everybody's talking shit. And I was like, I don't know. You might be in for a surprise. And so like first, second round, everybody's silent.
Quiet.
Like got awful quiet up in here. Where's everybody at? But then everybody starts complaining like, stand them up. This is garbage. I'm like, man, you have no idea what you're watching right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what gets me going. When you hear the casual fans start yelling out stuff, it's like,
yeah. The more you know, the more you have an appreciation for the fight game. For mixed martial arts, it's a whole bunch of facets, and you can't neglect any one bucket of the disciplines that it takes to combine and be MMA. And if you do, you get exposed quick. At the highest level, everyone's good everywhere.
Right.
So the next level just keeps getting better and better. It's just going to be crazy to watch. Those 6-7-year-olds that I was seeing shrimp up and down the mat at Cesar Gracie's, probably, right on the cusp of getting the UFC now.
They're coming.
They're changing the game. They're all coming,
They're coming. Dude, what would be your number one all-time walkout song?
It's a good question, man. I don't know. Right now, I'm coming out to a good one. I grew up watching all the mob movies, when they're killing people. And that's kind of the mindset I want to be in when I walk in there. House of the Rising Sun, The Animals.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. And it's not really like the sexy song that's going to get the crowd going. But like I said, I don't give a fuck about the crowd like that. Like, I'm doing it for me and people I'm here to support. Like, I get it. there's things that can get the crowd going more. But if I go out and win and fight, like the way I should, that'll impress the crowd. I don't need I don't know. I like the song. It spoke to me. Prior to that, my debut, I actually was coming out to Tom Petty, Won't Back Down.
Right.
It was a different mindset, though. I was just trying to be grateful for the opportunity, the debut, make the most of it, and now it's like I'm trying to kill these motherfuckers and chase down that title in the top 5, and it's just a different mindset. So like the song switched, the mindset switched. I'm not happy I'm just here. I'm trying to make it to the top now, so it's kind of like I like the change in the song, change in the mindset, flip the switch, and now just stepping on the gas and trying to get my way to that title, man. Trying to bring New England another title.
Let's go.
You know.
I just said let's
first
go.
UFC title, but
There we go.
You know, but we got enough here at the other sports, so we're trying to bring one for the UFC now.
Dope. Let's go. New England doesn't need any more Super Bowls for a while.
Man, I'll tell you, it's been tough. We're due for someone to step up right now.
It's gonna be rebuild for a little bit.
That's it, rebuild.
Are you a Patriots fan? Like, do you watch?
Yeah.
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 You're lucky. You're lucky.
Man, we've been lucky. That's the thing. Like I got exposed to that for the last 2 decades, and I know I don't give these people the sexy like headlines, the locker room material for the opponents. I just keep it all to myself, man. I keep all the chips. Give me all the chips. Talk all that shit. And on fight day, I'm going all the fuck in. You know, make you pay for everything you said. Let's go. That's my mindset. You know what I mean?
I'm ready to train right now.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm fucking ready. I tell you, like it's all mental, man. I mean, sometimes you feel like you're saying, you feel beat up, you know, I don't know, man, this, that. All of a sudden you find yourself on the mat, you're fucking ready to go. It's just getting there. So I'm just walking through the door. I mean, no one can speak on it more than you said, like life and death and what you're dealing with, you know what I mean? And it doesn't get more real than that.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we're blessed with the opportunity to be stressed over the possibility of achieving something great. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're asking for the stress, but like I'm signing up for something on the back end, being stressed out that there's so much upside on the back end of my stress. Some people are stressed with just trying to like, you know, live and get by day to day. It's like, it's different stresses. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to put that in perspective when I get out there. Like, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. And we try to preach that mindset, you know?
Right. So these are the most important questions of the podcast right here. All right. Are you ready?
I don't know.
You just got to pick one or the other. I have a feeling I know which way you're going to go with this one just because of your age, but Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Jordan?
Jordan again.
All right. Are you a rap fan or a rock fan?
I like both, honestly.
Yeah. Tupac or Biggie?
I mean, I should say Biggie. I like both, man. I don't know. I know. I'll get hate on both sides, but fuck them both. I like both, so fuck everybody.
All right. That's all right.
I like both. Say what you want, West Coast, East Coast.
Metallica or Guns N' Roses?
I mean, I like both there too, but I know I should. I'm more Biggie Tupac, I guess, on that.
Okay.
As crazy as that sounds.
No, me too. Godfather or Goodfellas?
I mean, how do you pick there? I think Goodfellas is my favorite movie
ever.
Okay. But Godfather's in there, you know what I mean? It's not too far off. And I want to say The Animals House of the Rising Sun is in that movie.
Oh, is it?
One of those ones where they're killing people, yeah.
This might be a corny question for somebody from Boston, but I gotta ask: The Town or The Departed? Oh, see, you already finished the question.
No, I know. I knew you were gonna ask it. I mean, I like both, man. Fenway, robbery, armored trucks. That's pretty cool. Whose car are we taking?
Right.
You know, I like that. But then The Departed, Scorsese, The GOAT.
Right.
Fuck, man. What are you asking? What do you flip a coin?
Yeah. As soon as we got off the plane, we started going back and forth with the lines, and then when we got to Fenway yesterday, all right, where did the one scene happen?
The best, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of all those movies. I wish I could watch more. Right now, I'm so fucking busy, man. I got to throw in some self-care, talking to my mental coach, Micah, man. Got to find those moments to watch more healthy shit, you know? Reward yourself.
Is the mental coach, is that a newer thing? Because the first time I'd ever seen it was they had that quarterback show on Netflix, and you see... I think a couple of the guys, but I know Kirk Cousins was meeting with a mental coach. Is that new?
I think it's becoming more accessible, or people are tapping. Like, so the UFC, I want to say, came in inception, was it like maybe 2016 or so? I got into the UFC at 2017. I just missed the big Snoop entrance party, this and that. So, but I know that the mental coach kind of came in shortly after that, maybe a year or two. And so he was a new introduction there, and they wanted to see how people liked it. And I mean... everybody, I believe, really liked it. Yeah. He's been there since, and he's helping out. But I think that's the difference between good and great. Everybody at the UFC at the highest level, they're all physically gifted. It's like a prerequisite. If you're getting the UFC, you got to be physically, you know, put together. Yeah. And the difference between good to great, in my opinion, is the mental, you know, as mentality. So I try to make gains there, and I realize how untapped it is. If you're not working that, I feel like it's a lot of untapped gains that you're missing out on. I mean, rather than the 1-2% better you can get, you know, bigger, stronger, or certain areas, I feel like people are untapped with how much they can tap into their the mentality. They're just kind of missing it.
Right. Dude, it's so interesting. I had a silver medalist sprinter from the Olympics. His name was Leo Manzano, and he came on and he talked about what separates people. And he was talking about the little things is what separates people. The discipline to always do the little things. And then you saying about the mentor, it's just so cool to see the contrast of these people that have made it to the tippy top of the highest ranks of this stuff. And to hear your guys' mindset is just fascinating to me.
Yeah, little details. I agree with that. It's like advanced basics. It's basics. I stick with basics. Basics won't win my fights to this day, but it's the nuances of the basics, the advanced minor detail, the little details that we focus on that make it advanced basics. That's how I feel like I've had the most success, because at the end of the day, when you're tired, you're fatigued, and you're going through it, you're going to kind of fall back on what works. And usually it's just the basics. Stick to the basics, jab, cross. It's simple stuff, hands up, chin down. And if you're doing that, you're far ahead of the competition. It's just lacking that discipline, 15 minutes to be able to, lock in for that long and not get distracted.
Right. So UFC 300, Aljamain Sterling, one of your biggest fights ever to your career.
Next one's always the biggest one.
Right. Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. What when people tune in, what are they going to see?
What they do every time I step in there, me chasing the life on the other side of a win and doing anything possible to get my hand raised, by any means necessary.
Dude, let's go. We will be there. We will be cheering you on, man. This was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time. The way we usually wrap up the episode is I ask the guests if they're willing to throw out some I am statements, just to help the audience be able to get to know who you are. So if you'd be willing, if you'd like to throw out some I am statements, let the people know.